In this video, I will analyze the winger position and you'll learn everything you need to know to become an outstanding winger. We're gonna separate this position into 3 phases. If you are playing the wide inverted winger role, just like Vinicius Jr., now you can see how up high Vini Jr. is, almost like a striker. Look and pay close attention to where the fullback is. If your fullback is not doing this, now you can't be that high as a winger. This is exactly when you do the switches between you and your fullback if you're playing that wide inverted winger role. Because you started up high, now you get to drop into the gap and you are forcing and pushing your fullback up. But imagine that your fullback was not there. Now you couldn't be that up high because you would have to be exactly where your fullback is right now at this moment. But your job is not done after you make this transition. Now as a winger, you'd have to get into the spaces where there can potentially be a rebound from the opposition, and you want to get those and win those balls in these territories. Luka Modric receives the ball and he's lifting his head up and he has 3 opposition in front of him. And look at the movement of the central midfielder. He moves away from the opposition to create that space for Luka Modric, so Luka Modric can find Vini Jr. in the dangerous areas. And the goal is to get the players like Vini Jr. find the ball in the final third, because that's where these players are deadly. So as soon as Vini Jr. gets the ball, look at the space he's got, but Vini Jr. is not getting any help. So exactly this is the moment you have to take tons of risk to be able to create these chances or maybe stall the game so your teammates can come and help you in this attack. But if your teammates are not coming, now Vini Jr. getting into the 18 and trying to take on the players. But if you notice, he's not really dribbling into the space where there are 3 players. His goal is to get away from that space where he has tons of pressure. Instead of going to his right, he's gonna be pulling to his left and he's gonna be one-on-one with the goalkeeper. Pay attention to the movement by the fullback who creates this incredible space for Vini Jr. to come deep and receive the ball. But not only the fullback, but at the same time, even the other player who is involved in this situation, moving away from that space, creates that huge gap for Vini Jr. to receive the ball deep. And it makes this situation incredibly important for the attacking transition. When it comes to overlapping fullback, at the end, it all comes down to your fullback occupying your position. You are the wide winger and that's actually your position. So your fullback, if they're overlapping, but you are there, they have to respect that's your position. They can't push you away from your position. If you see Vini Jr. who's wide but has lots of space in front of him, but if you look behind him, then there is the fullback trying to overlap. Because Vini Jr. already has tons of space, the overlapping fullback will respect the space that the Vini Jr. have and then tuck in. So in case if the opposition wins the ball after this attack ends, the fullback can cover the space that the opposition could be dangerous to counter-attack. Your fullback movements will depend on how are you playing that particular position at that particular time. So sometimes, yes, if you're tucking in as a winger, your fullback will have to go wide. But most importantly, if you are occupying the wide space, your fullback has to tuck in or not overlap at all. How a winger can create space for themselves or for their teammates. This example, Vini Jr. creates spaces so many times for his teammates, ends up being goal at the end. But his connection and understanding his fullback really opens up this gap so they can score at the end. First of all, Vini Jr. up high again and pulls the center back with him. Automatically this opens up a space for the running player at the back. But if you pay attention to the fullback, he also pulls the opposition's fullback with him. If the fullback did not pull the opposition's fullback to him, then Vini Jr. wouldn't be able to pull the center back, but he would be pulling the fullback instead. So there wouldn't be this gap opening up for the attacking team. Now the ball went through and Vini Jr. is automatically going to assist right away, but here where he creates another space for his teammates. So now Vini Jr. actually creates 2 spaces at once in this particular position. First of all, he's making a fake run and occupying and getting the attention of the center back. Because the center back is following and focusing on Vini Jr., so now the other guy that came to assist to defend is completely forgetting about the guy coming from the back. And this is just creating space mastery in this particular case. And this is when Vinicius Jr. is transitioning from the attacking to defending phase. Vini Jr. is not the greatest defender, but he still has to come and shift inside and to cover dangerous spaces. So if you look at this transition from the Vinicius Jr. coming to support the defending, there is these three players that are playing a huge critical role. The number 11 who has the ball on the wing, he cannot play this ball back into the middle. And that's the goal as a winger. When the opposition passes into your half, now you have to cover these channels so the opposition's central midfielders, attacking midfielders, cannot get the ball. Even though Vinicius Jr. is not putting too much pressure on, all he is doing is blocking these central channel, so the opposition has to go to the other side and the responsibility is away from Vinicius Jr. This is a perfect example of counter pressing. If you look at Vini Jr. here, he is actually covering not one, not two, but three players at the same time. Even though you might see him as a player that doesn't put as much pressure, doesn't run as much, but he's covering three players at the same time, where he's right in between those three, where he's covering the central gap, he's somewhat covering the wide gap, so now the opposition doesn't have many options. And the opposition has to play it through the middle, but the middle is already covered. So this makes it very challenging for the opposition to break your team through. But the one danger comes with this types of situations where if you can't win the ball centrally. This is something, in my opinion, many wingers struggle with. There are zones that you have to be in when your team is defending as a winger. Pay close attention to Vini Jr. He is way far ahead from the confrontation zone. So as a winger, you can't be behind the ball, you have to be in front of the ball and you have to be facing the ball when you are defending. This zone marks where he's actually supposed to start the first defending. So you have to be behind your striker so you don't make your central midfielders work for you basically. This is exactly where Vini Jr. is supposed to be, but that space is now occupied by the central midfielder. So if Vini Jr. was there, this player that's putting the initial pressure on the opposition's winger or the fullback would need to be back where these arrows are showing. It's important that you're always behind the ball if the opposition has the ball. So ideally Vini Jr. is supposed to be right there, which would be pushing the central midfielder centrally. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please drop a like, subscribe to my channel with the notifications on. You can also find my playlist right over here. Thanks for tuning in, and I will see you next time.